I feel like Rose. I'll never let go, Jack. But you did let go, Rose. You did let go. Oh, it's good to be back here with you. Live Hockey Talk Show on a Tuesday, January 30th, with about 5 minutes past 7 o'clock p.m. Doesn't matter to you if you're listening on the podcast. If you are, rate and review, damn it. We need to crawl up those standings on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and Spotify. Heard from a lot of people on Spotify. They're like, hey, Buckaroo, where the hell's the show, buddy? Oh, look, All-Star break. We had a couple things going on. But it's nice to be here with you on a Tuesday night talking hockey. And we are talking about one thing and one thing only because of two reasons. One, we are still coming off of that All-Star break. There really isn't much going on after the All-Star game. You do have two dead days here. Yesterday with no games last night. And tonight with games about to get underway. So there's that. And the second thing is the New York Rangers. They made some news. It's massive. To me, and we need to spend some time talking about it. So, Ranger fans, this bud's for you. We are talking about the New York Rangers and the possibility of a rebuild coming to Madison Square Garden. Let me know in the comments below if you're watching, where you're watching from. If you want to talk about the New York Rangers, this is your episode, baby. Phone number's open to you if you want to use it at 631-438-1768. That's 631-438-1768. 1768, of course, if you want to live in the comments, Facebook and YouTube. That is cool with me. I think we're going to go in and out with this one because we're going to delve deep, but it's not going to take us too long to talk about the New York Rangers and should they rebuild. I was shocked and also not shocked by the news that comes in the New York Post from the man himself, Mr. Crazy, Mr. Soup Sandwich, Larry Brooks. That's right. Larry Brooks has the story in the Post. Sandra, welcome to the show. Jake, welcome to the show. They have it in the Post that the Rangers are going to head into a rebuild no matter where they are in the standings at the end of the season. Now, I personally feel vindicated. I feel vindicated. And here's why. And I'm going to repeat this a couple times because I don't want the Ranger fans getting upset. I called this at the beginning of the Hockey Talk Show. One of the buzzworthy clips that kind of got around the internet was the fact that I thought the Rangers should trade Henrik Lundqvist if they weren't in it. Everybody called me crazy. Everything seemed right. It all seems crazy, right? All seems nuts. When Chris Columbus gets a bunch of his buddies together and goes, know what I'm going to do? I'm going to load up on that boat there. We're going to head out that way until we hit land. And they're going, homie, you're going to fall off the earth. Let me show you Earth. Chris, here it is, bud. And you're going to get to the end. Then what's going to happen to you? And Chris is over there going, I'm telling you, we're going to wind up in India. And they go, India's that way, Chris. That was me at the beginning of the season. I go, feels like the Rangers should trade Lundqvist. And everybody's out there going, that guy's nuts. That guy's crazy. That guy's just trying to get people to pay attention to him and get some publicity for his show. Well, that one wasn't far off. But I feel vindicated. I feel really good, and I feel vindicated. Everybody on the Facebook, thanks for coming in here. I got a lot of viewers on Facebook right now. That's nice. Nice to see you guys. Sandra, I'm going to get to the Islanders mascot in a second. But I feel vindicated about the New York Rangers and their situation. I said, this is not a team built for a championship. I said that. I said, this is not a team built to beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is not a team that's going to easily handle the Washington Capitals and being able to get out of the East and compete for a Stanley Cup championship. And by the way, you owe that to the king. That man has given his heart and soul to this organization. You owe him a chance to compete for a cup. Not give him drivel, right? Don't hand me Jesper Fast and act like we're going for the cup this year. All right? Don't give me Peter Holland and act like it's the thing that's going to get it done. It's going to get over the top, I tell you. It's David Desharnais. Big signing. Big signing, everybody. How come the waterfall didn't fall off the earth? Is there a big wall or a dam? I don't know. But you know what? Chris was willing to find out. He had the cojones, right? He had the moxie to say, I'm going to figure it out, baby. I'm going to see what's at the end of that rope. And he went for it. That's what I appreciate. He's like me. I'm exactly like Chris Columbus, except without the whole bad part about killing innocent people. Nobody was harmed during the taping of the Hockey Talk show ever. Ever. All right, one time a light fell on an intern, but he shouldn't have been over there anyway. We tell people don't stand right over there. Lights fall over there. That he should have known. He should have known that. Tyson, that's a smart move. Rangers could get a couple of good prospects picks for Lundqvist while he still has a lot of trade value. Thank you, Tyson. Thanks, my man. Where were you 5 months ago when I was like, hey, everybody get on this boat. We're going to sail over there. And everybody was looking at me like I was nuts. I'm appreciative, Tyson. I could have used you 3 months ago when everybody said that guy's crazy. I could have used Tyson to stand up and be like, you know what? He's not that crazy. I'm getting on the boat with that guy. He's got something cooking there. It's true. It's true. In hindsight, you look at the Rangers on face value and you go, you can't trade Lundqvist. I get it. I understand why they're skeptics of my moves. But the thing is, what I want everybody to understand is I'm a flat out hockey genius. Okay. I should be running a team. Instead, I chose to be here. I made my choices and I'm happy with them. But the point is this. I look at this team and I know how to evaluate talent in National Hockey League teams. And it was plain for me to see that this was going to be a team that was going to struggle to make the playoffs. I saw that when they stumbled coming out of the gate. And even before that, I just looked at this team and said, they don't have the talent to get there. They just don't. You know, the Band-Aid Michael Grabner can only take you so far. Rick Nash is well past his prime. Chris Kreider shows up when he wants and he's hurt now. Matt Zuccarello is good. Mika Zibanejad was a great pickup. But I also see, outside of a team that is not built that great, a young budding general manager that wants to put his stamp on the franchise. And he hasn't been able to because they've been hanging around with Henrik Lundqvist, who's been kind of keeping them in it. Right? How much at the beginning of the Hockey Talk show in this year did we talk about the fact that the Rangers and the Canadians were so similar because of they have great goaltending and really good coaching and then not anything really in between. A bunch of players that are looking around at each other going, well, who's going to step up here? You know, sometimes it's better to look in the mirror than around the locker room. But I feel vindicated in the fact that I called this at the beginning of the season. And now we have confirmation, take that as you will, from Larry Brooks, who's as nuts as they come and really not all that trustworthy. But confirmation from him and the New York Post that is indeed where the New York Rangers are going to go. And I will delve pretty deep into this. Now, even though I think that he's nutso, it's the language that he uses and the fact that he was able to write this, to me, that speaks volumes that the Rangers are indeed going to go in this direction. I find it interesting that they are going to go in this direction, whether they're in a playoff spot or not. Tom, wasn't that said about the Penguins last year at this time? I believe it was. But here's the difference, Tom. I was saying this about this team before the season started. Before the season started, I felt this way about this team. This is not a team that is built to compete in the East. Before the Devils were a surprise, I looked at this franchise and thought, how are you going to beat the Columbus Blue Jackets? All right, they've fallen off, so one mark off for me. How are you going to beat the Washington Capitals? They're better than you in every aspect. And even more so, how are you going to beat the Tampa Bay Lightning? What do you guys want as Ranger fans? You want another 3 years of losing in the second round? Or do you want 3 or 4 really tough years, followed by 5 years where you're going hard for the Stanley Cup when it's your time, when Steven Stamkos is past his prime, when Alexander Ovechkin has lost a step? Isn't that the time that you want to be competing for a cup? To me, that's the smart play. You gotta play the hand you're dealt. And right now, this is not a let's go all in hand for the New York Rangers. Now, I promised Sandra I would talk very quickly about the Islanders mascot, and I'm going to do this for 60 seconds, and here it goes. Sandra asked me the other day, writes into the Hockey Talk Show on Facebook, and why is there because of the All-Star game, all the mascots go, and why is there a mascot for the New York Islanders that is a dragon? Now, I was working for the franchise at the time, and I can tell you the answer is simple, because the Islanders are cheap and have been cheap for a very long time. Some of you hardcore sports fans might remember the Arena Football League. There was a team called the New York Dragons, and they had a mascot named Sparky, and he was red and black. That was Sparky the Dragon. And when the New York Dragons struggled and decided to move to the Nassau Coliseum and were eventually bought by Islanders owners, they adopted Sparky as their mascot. And next thing you know, Sparky started showing up at New York Islanders games. And that is essentially exactly how it went down. Okay, let me see if I can... let me give this to you guys. Here is Sparky. There he was with the New York Dragons, Arena Football League. And then they literally took a Dragons jersey off him and slapped an Islander jersey on him, and he showed up the next day. Now, eventually, as the Dragons folded and the Islanders became a more important option for Sparky, Sparky's color changed from red and black to orange and blue. But make no mistake about it. Sparky's, or in fact, is this a red and blue? Yeah, there he was in the red and black. You can see he's red and black here with the Islander jersey on. They were literally like, we already own a mascot, so slap an Islander jersey on him. That was literally it. And that was literally how it was. Tom, the Islanders got sloppy seconds. You better believe it. You better believe they did. They got sloppy seconds in a big way, my friend. Cheap sloppy seconds. Cheap sloppy seconds. Tom making some bold statements. The Capitals will never win a cup with Alexander Ovechkin on the team. It's one of the great mysteries of the league. It's going to be insane to me. It's going to be Dan Marino-esque if the Great Eight goes his entire career and never captures the championship. It's going to be unbelievable. And that's where Ovi is at his point right now. Is he going to be Dan Marino? Or is he going to be John Elway? That's the question. Because Marino and Elway paralleled themselves for a really long time, and then Elway got his championships at the very tail end of his career. Not to take anything away from it, but I'm saying that's where he got them. That was the only difference between those two. Elway had the teams at the latter part of his career, and Marino didn't. All right. Andy, the Rangers will never win with Chris Kreider. He's a liability on the ice. Kreider is one of those players, and there's a ton. You can go up and down the league from Josh Bailey, who's coming to fruition now, 10 years into his National Hockey League career, to Alex Galchenyuk. At what point are these guys going to pop? At what point? When does it happen? When are they going to reach their potential? And much like Chris Kreider, much like the other guys, they have those flashes, those moments in games where you just go, especially with Kreider, look at that speed. Look at that speed. And then he puts a couple good games together and you're thinking, here it is. This is it. Maybe he's going to finally figure it out. And he just hasn't put it together yet. He hasn't been able to put together a full 82-game season. And it's very frustrating for Ranger fans, and I understand. I understand. It's very frustrating. But, you know, this is what happens in the National Hockey League. It's like baking a cake when you have no clue what you're doing. You just put it in there and you set the timer and you hope that you get it out at the right time. You have no idea. You think it's 20 minutes. You don't know. You have no idea. But I feel vindicated because I was saying this at the beginning of the season and now it's finally coming to fruition. It is a little surprising to me, though, that they're going to do it whether they're in the hunt or not. And they're still in the hunt. But I think they recognize that even if you add to this, you're mortgaging your future a little bit because you're going to have to give up prospects and or picks. But if you add to this, it doesn't even matter. Even if the Rangers go out and get Evander Kane, even if they go out and get Mike Hoffman, even if they go out and get Mike Green, whatever they wind up going out and getting, you know, Thomas Vanek, it doesn't matter. It's not going to put them over the top. You could add Evander Kane and Thomas Vanek to this team, and I would still take Tampa in 4. I would still do it. I'd still take Tampa in 4. And then where does that leave you next year? Without Vanek, without Kane, and without the picks that you gave up for. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense. It feels weird to say, but it's time to give it up. The Islanders, they're on the upswing. The Carolina Hurricanes, they're on the upswing. The Flyers just added Nolan Patrick. You know what I'm saying? The Flyers are, granted, 28's been there for a while, so is 93 and 17, but they've infused it with some youth. Now, big question mark in the net for the Flyers. I get that. But, Tom, you know what I'm talking about. It's too late to get someone to get through the playoffs. Andy, what picks? Sather gave them all away. Rangers have picks. Don't let that. The Rangers have picks. According to Cap Friendly, the Rangers have all their picks in the upcoming draft, sans the 7th round pick. And that's okay. You could. That's fine. You can get rid of the. But imagine having 2 first rounders going into this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a bad draft. Now might be the time to go. I'm not surprised we're here because I called this. I'm surprised at the language that Larry Brooks used in his piece. Let's get into it because we got some hockey to watch. There's some games. Larry Brooks writes, there is no ambivalence within management. The Blue Shirts were told on good, we are told on good authority, view the February 26th trade deadline as a unique opportunity to refresh the roster and replenish the organization, regardless of where the club stands in relation to a playoff spot. The mandate approved, if not established in the owner's suite by Jim Dolan, is to build a Stanley Cup winner rather than to simply extend a 7-year playoff streak that is in jeopardy. Smart. The objective is to add young NHL or NHL-ready players every bit as much as garnering additional selections in upcoming entry drafts. Teams in the market for rentals generally own picks in the 24 to 31 range. If you can get a good player toward the bottom of the first round, but generally not a franchise guy, even if Boston's David Pastrnak 25th pick in 2014 might prove a notable exception to the rule. The Rangers are neither plotting nor anticipating a deep dive into the league's nether regions from which it could take years to escape. The Blue Shirts should be able to cash in on Rick Nash, the most attractive rental property on the market. No, he's not. No, he's not. Stop it. Rick Nash is not the most attractive anything. He is the perfect fit for a team seeking to fortify its top 6. Lies. Dallas, St. Louis, and San Jose would appear to be good matches. Perhaps even Tampa with Andre Palat down for a couple of months. All have the ingredients to work a deal for number 61, who is believed to have submitted his trade approval list over the summer. This too on Nash, for whom the return based on his historical norms should be a legit youngster plus a first rounder. The Blue Shirts can assume up to 50% of number 61's full season $7.8 million cap. Rick Nash does not pull in a first-round draft pick or a prospect. He does not. Trade Nash for Marchand. Yeah, okay. If you can get a second round draft pick for number 61, pat yourself on the back, have a beer. Good day. Been a good day for the New York Rangers. If you can get a pick and a prospect, a number 2 and a prospect, that's good. Rick Nash can help teams. The problem is the issue where my man Larry Brooks here is downright delusional is Kane, Hoffman, Pacioretty, Vanek. I mean, he's 61's down on the list. He might be number 61 on the list. He's far down on the list. All these teams are going to go out and try and get these guys first before they bring in a Rick Nash. I'm sorry, but it's true. Now, do I think Rick Nash is done? I think he can squeeze a little bit more out of this washcloth here. I really do. And especially if he's put in the right situation where he's on a line with some guys who know how to carry the puck and get it deep in the zone, and he can float around and just shoot. And that's where his game is at. So I think they can get something for him. But I think that you got to be smart about it, and you got to have your expectations met. Beyond the rentals, the Rangers are prepared to deal Ryan McDonagh and Matt Zuccarello, both of whom are 2019 free agent eligible, and neither of whom seem likely to get a long-term pricey extension. The trade market for both would, by definition, be expanded at the draft when essentially every team is in play, but their immediate value might be higher now to a more limited field. You can get a king's ransom, no pun intended, for Ryan McDonagh and Matt Zuccarello. What would the Toronto Maple Leafs part with to get Ryan McDonagh? I believe something pretty damn valuable. I don't think you can pry Mitch Marner or William Nylander from the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I think you can get that front office thinking about it if they could get a Ryan McDonagh. Imagine how well Ryan McDonagh would perform in Toronto. Imagine how good he would be back on a winning team. Because if you've noticed, McDonagh's play has dipped as the Rangers have dipped. When the Rangers were flying high, he was good. He seems to me to be the type of player that plays well on a good team. My thoughts on trading McDonagh? C'est la vie, friend. Thanks for wearing the C. You were a great player. Business. It's not personal. If I was building a team tomorrow, he would be one of the defensemen that I would consider. If I take over the Rangers today, thanks a lot, Cap. It's been fun. Where would you like to go? I'll do the best I can. It's business, baby. I love 36, too. Love Zuccarello. I'd love to see if he had line mates. That'd be nice. Would have been nice to get him line mates at the beginning of the season. Trade him, too. The return for Zuccarello, McDonagh, Nash, and Lundqvist, if you could find somebody to take him, would be ginormous. Now, I really feel that Lundqvist is an off-season acquisition because contract's expensive. He's older. It's got to be the right situation. You better hope and pray Jonathan Quick goes down with an injury or some. I mean, you got to hope that a playoff contender who's got cap space goes down and goes down hard if you think that Lundqvist is going to go before the deadline. I just think that contract is too much to do. Just too much. And then you turn this team over to Mika Zibanejad, and you look Jeff Gordon in the eye and you say, build me a contender. You wanted Zibanejad. You didn't want, Brassard? That was the guy. It turned out to be a good move. Let's see what else you can do. And I would continue to fire them off, man. JT Miller, Kevin Hayes, Jimmy Vesey. Only one can stay. The other two got to go. It ain't personal to me. Whoever you think is the best. Whoever you think is going to fit in the best. And just draft picks, draft picks, draft picks. That is it. That's it. That's what I would do. And I'll tell you why. You got Shattenkirk till 2021. You got Zibanejad 21-22. There's your window. You want to be competitive by the time 1920 2021 rolls around. You want to have your act together. And I'm not saying just prospects, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I would definitely send McDonagh off because there's a lot of free agent defensemen. You could send McDonough off, get your picks, make your picks, and then by the time 2019 comes around, when Drew Doughty's a free agent and Eric Carlson's a free agent, then you can make a play for him. And guess what you won't have on your books? $7.8 million from Rick Nash and $8.5 million from Henrik Lundqvist. That's what you won't have on your books. It ain't personal. Business. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your service. And I'll tell you what. The surface fan may be upset and hurt Lundqvist gets traded. At the surface, Lundqvist may be pissed he gets traded because I'm sure he wants to win here more than anything. But what's better for him? To go off and actually compete for a cup, or to waste the next 3 seasons of his life with mediocrity in front of him? And this one's easy for me. Rebuild, rebuild, rebuild. You have great pieces who are valuable now. My argument for Lundqvist being traded, he's not going to be valuable 2 years from now. You're not going to get anywhere near what you're going to get for him now. Now's the time. Now's the time to do it. Eddie V agrees. Can't unload Lundqvist during the season. I agree. I wish you could. Andy, VC or Miller, dump Hayes. Yeah, I'm not, you know what? I am not, I'm not romantic about it. Whoever wants to go, goes. New Yorkers will burn the garden down, says Tom. No way New York Rangers give him up during the season. I don't think you can give him up during the... I think if they could give him up during the season, they would. I just don't think, cap-wise, anybody else can accept him. You have to just look around the league and see who's got $8.5 million. Because the problem is you can take a contract back, but it'd have to be $7 million plus, and in the last season for it to make sense for the New York Rangers. You know, and I don't know if they want to go there, and I don't know if we have a lot of teams that have that. Sandra, can you trade a captain without offending your entire fan base? It's gonna hurt. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're gonna take a big hit right up front. You're gonna take a big. No fan base swallows the pill of rebuild easily. But anybody with any hockey sense can look at this team and know you are going nowhere for at least 3 seasons. Nowhere. Tampa Bay is going to be around in its current form for at least 2, if not 3 more seasons before their younger players start to come up on free agency and they got to start signing and making decisions like Chicago was. Right? I mean, look, everybody who had to deal with Chicago these last couple of years dealt with the same thing. How long did Nashville get pounded for before they finally broke through? And now Chicago can't even make the playoffs. It's cyclical, people. It's not a mystery. It's cyclical. You got to look at everybody else and where you're at in this wheel and figure out your slot. And when Ovi is old and Stamkos is aging, that's the time when you want to be really good. That's the time when you want to be really, really good. Think about it. You got another expansion draft coming up, a year, 2 years away, maybe 3. You know, be nice to have a bunch of young players in there that you don't have to waste time protecting. I mean, it just makes sense. They're not on the upswing that the New York Islanders are on. They're not on the upswing that the Carolina Hurricanes are on. They're just not. Detroit's on the downswing. Who knows what the hell's Montreal is. Florida's on a little bit of an upswing, even though they've been struggling these last 2 seasons. You know, the Flyers, like I said, just added Nolan Patrick. 14 has finally realized, wait a second, I'm not a third-line center. I could be a first-line center like everybody thought I was when they drafted me. Couturier is finally stepping up for them. Boston is on an upswing with an aging team, no less. You know, Char's on his way out, but Tuukka's young. Marchand's relatively young. You know, 30. Bergevin is young, relatively. Yeah, a couple of more years. But at least they got McAvoy. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've got that infusion of youth there. Rangers don't have it. Rangers just don't have it. Sandra, are we ever going to talk about poor Arizona? I swear their mascot has more goals than half the team. There was a crazy stat with the Super Bowl. I watched Super Bowl opening night last night a little bit while I was working. There was a crazy stat in the Super Bowl where Belichick and Brady have more postseason wins than the Eagles coach and quarterback to have career wins. They have more postseason wins than they do career wins. How insane is that? We'll get to Arizona. I would love to fix that franchise one day too. But for right now, the focus is on the New York Rangers. Fun talking hockey with you tonight. Let me know, by the way, in the comments below, let me know if you like this one subject structure. We've been doing a lot of the here's the day's news. Do you like just talking about one thing, or do you like the day's news? We hit a couple of little news items. Not really, though. Do you like the one subject thing? It's easy to do today because, you know, we're coming off the break here. It's not a lot going on. But I just want to know your opinions. Thumbs up on the post on Facebook or YouTube. Hit that thumbs up right now. Don't forget to do that. Share this on your social as well. Twitter and Facebook if you can. Remember to rate and review on the podcast. Thanks for all the questions, everybody. Fun show tonight. I will see you guys